Nice job, Matt. Now, for more than half a century, Notre Dame has been represented by a leprechaun, one of the most recognizable mascots in all of sports. The famous Fighting Irishman traces back to the work of a local artist. ABC 57's Vahid Sadrazadeh is live here in FanFest with the legend of the leprechaun. Hey, Vahid.
Hey, Allison, over the last 50 years, there's been multiple versions of the leprechaun. The most recent, the one you're looking at right now. But the leprechaun was originally hand-drawn by a local artist who grew up just miles from Notre Dame Stadium.
When my dad came to games here, I wondered, did he get to sit in the box?
Jackie Friend last stepped foot in Notre Dame Stadium as a teenager in the 1960s.
To come here and just be surrounded by the sense of the leprechaun and the Fighting Irish, it's pretty overwhelming. I am absolutely thrilled for my father because during his lifetime, he didn't have the recognition.
The father that she so fondly speaks of.
Nobody knew who Ted Drake was.
Ted Drake was born in Bremen, Indiana, and graduated from Elkhart High School in 1927. With a passion for commercial art, Drake went back to Elkhart after enlisting in the military during World War II.
After the Navy, he worked for Wilson Sporting Goods in Chicago, doing advertisements for them. In the early 1960s, the University of Notre Dame was looking to rebrand or change their logo from the Terrier Clashmore into a new logo that was more representative of the Irish heritage.
Apparently, as a young child, he liked to draw leprechauns. So that was something that he had done for many years.
So the university turned to the local artist for help.
The idea was that it was to be used one time on those little cards that they give out that list the games for the season. And that's all it was going to be used for. Paid $50, and then it just exploded.
In 1964, the world took notice when the leprechaun graced the cover of Time magazine with head coach Ara Parsegian. More than 50 years later, the leprechaun is one of the most recognizable mascots and logos.
You do see it all over, and I just wander over to people and say, hi. My dad did that.
Ted Drake did draw the Fighting Irishman logo, but he also worked on football program covers for Notre Dame, as well as doing paintings of the Four Horsemen of Notre Dame.
Now, nearly 2 decades after her father's death, Jackie Friend finds herself perusing a once familiar path.
He was so good.
A half-century has passed since she walked these concrete concourses with her dad.
It's one more piece of my dad's life.
Those program covers now hanging. Ted Drake's work once again on display for the world and his daughter to see.
He was a very funny man. He was incredibly talented, and he loved what he did.
What would the conversation be like between you and him if you were here to see this?
First thing that goes through my mind is, you did it. You did it. There is the recognition. You did it. And I'm so glad that I could do that for him. I love you, Ted.
Now, it was serendipitous that we caught up with Jackie. She actually just moved back to Michiana and to Elkhart just weeks ago. A pleasure to speak with her. Now, interesting to note about Ted Drake. Take a look here. Ted Drake, also the artist behind the Chicago Bulls logo that hasn't been changed since it was first introduced in the late 60s. Ted also did the Toys for Tots logo and worked with the Elkhart Jazz Festival. We want to thank Jackie, the Elkhart Historical Society, and Notre Dame Archives for providing us with those photos and with those drawings and renderings.